be able to look at it. You want to be able to see yourself. I mean, it does come in handy. Let's center ourselves there, spiritually and videographically. And done.
Welcome to Zen Mystery TV, episode 9, I think.
Actually, it's episode, it could be episode 8. 9? Okay. Keeping track.
The lucky 9. Because I just posted number 7, it means there's 8 in the can. 9.
Marvelous, okay. So, episode 9, and yes,
We're
9th episode.
here at Zen Mystery, having a good time.
Yes.
Having good conversations, and we will continue the conversation here on camera.
Yeah, we're, interesting thing, I think it's going to be a love episode. I think it's going to be
a love
I
episode.
think it's what it is.
Love.
Self-love.
Self-love? Oh, so you have something
Yeah.
self-loving to
Yeah, self-love. Actually, some good research out of the Buddha's Brain. Buddha's Brain. It's an excellent book, but actually, I think for the first time, I'd like to highlight an app. Our first app review.
App review, okay.
Yeah, a little app review.
Which one?
Which is a particular part of an app is what I'd like to focus on, which is actually the Buddha's Brain app for the iPhone. I think it's also out there for the Android and a couple different things.
So
It's wonderful.
for 2,500 years, they've been keeping like a brain alive? And they
What?
connected the computer and that's what the app is about?
A little different. The idea is actually recent research they put together, they mashed together all the research that's been done in the past few years. That finally, a lot of things, there's all the research on the effects of meditation on the brain, and then there was meditation that, some research that culminated a few years ago, and it culminated in that talk that he, actually when I say he, I'm talking about a specific gentleman. You're going to hear some noise in the background, by the way.
We are at Zen Mystery where is food preparation involved usually.
Yes.
So there's a little bit of blending.
There's a very special request for brownies that is non-negotiable. So it's that's happening. So what we're looking at right here, we're looking at the work of Rick Hanson, PhD, with Richard Mandius, MD, and their book, The Practical Neuroscience of Happiness, Love, and Wisdom, and it's titled Buddha's Brain. And this is the app that kind of goes along with it. But
App comes along with the book. Free app?
no. I say they put out an app to help accompany the book.
Okay.
They put out an app to help accompany the
I
book.
hope the book is just as good as an app. So okay, let's get what's it all about.
Well, the meat and potatoes of the app right now that I was actually looking at, because I definitely, I'm going through self-recreation phase right now. And one of the wonderful things that that happened recently is that I started looking much deeper into the whole issue of self-love, healing the subconscious, and also specifically very good research here on the work of practicing self-compassion. Practicing self-compassion is a very interesting thing. Usually, it's looked down upon, even on the interior of people, the way they look at themselves when they try and do self-compassion. Or they supplant it with self-pity. And I know this is possible because it's actually one of my chief faults in my astrology and even in my numerology. So it's something that when the energy gets low and you hit against a couple frustrations, where different people's energy goes, and that's one of my definitely chief faults. And so what we have is actually the practice of self-compassion. Now what he talks about is in a meditative process to go through a couple different things. One of the things that he talks about to help activate this part of the brain, because this part of the brain that has to do with compassion can work with other people, and then it kind of bounces back and works on you. I think you've introduced a bunch of times, that you actually already mentioned it sometimes in this, what is the main, wonderful compassion exercise? You bring it up a lot.
It comes from, I think I discovered it in some Russian spiritual literature, modern. It's interesting that it'll sound funny. I mean, it'll sound, people will be like, why? Anger is the healing element of self-pity.
Oh, interesting.
And I think if we break it down, I think it's because it's not that it's healing, it's releasing the anger that's hiding behind self-pity it brings the energy back together. I think that's what happens. That's when you break it up. So it's good to have you feel down is
Now, what
not to other
variety of
people.
anger?
Not to other people.
That is very interesting.
As a practice, you want to raise your energy.
I'm going to beat these people down. Meditation.
You raise your energy by intensifying that energy and kind of releasing that anger.
Now,
But not in some crazy angry way.
it's
You basically grind your teeth and hit a few pillows and just stump your feet, and the energy will carry you out.
interesting.
Now,
Now,
that jolt of energy will carry you out.
what
of
I'd like
something.
to personally add to that is something that I've found, very helpful, because being a person with, one of these, faults, however, is that I've found ways of coping with it a lot of times. And one of the ways that I try and use is the same thing, but it came naturally to me, and I label it wrath. It's a wrathful meditation, It's very interesting.
You would trademark that?
Wrathful meditation, actually, it's trademarked, okay? It's done. Don't go there.
You have about a week and a half before the show comes out.
Okay, I got a week and a half to really get this.
Raise some money to trademark.
Okay, what's interesting about it and why it's a little different than just sitting there and soaking in anger, I think, for me, is that there's a certain amount of this sense of wrath that comes over in regards to doing the things that need to be done, that are healthy for you, that are good for you, and you just raise up a kind of intent. It's a kind of an intent in that direction, and that really, really helps. Now, running or doing exercise with a lot of good energy, some of the Tai Chi movements that you can do, especially a little bit of the 8-piece brocade. The 7th of the 8-piece brocade has to do with striking wrathfully, right? And what does striking wrathfully do? What you do is that you actually get into what's called a horse stance. Basically, you sit pretty low to the ground, knees about double width apart, and you punch with all your strength. You tense every single muscle in the body, and you breathe in deep. Now, what you imagine is,
Totally, see that?
it's very good.
You don't have to hit any pillows.
No pillows, and all you do is that you breathe in very strong, you tense everything in the body, and what you do is that you visualize a brilliant white light saturating the muscles.
Interesting. You know what I do is, living by the ocean, I live nearby. I run into the water early, nobody's there, screaming and really fast. It's hard, and I go and I create some heat.
Oh, interesting.
Self-pity is not my thing, but if I get a little low, a little down,
To stir up the energy.
start going basically almost like running as how warriors run into head-on thing, but basically that's what you do.
Now, let me clarify. He didn't say waters, he meant warriors.
Did I say
Now, warriors, it sounded like, waters,
warriors?
Warriors.
And
And not warriors.
there's a-
Warriors is different from warriors as well. So,
Can't pronounce things.
and that's the difference. Waters? Warriors? We're going for the center. Warriors.
Okay.
But in getting back to the topic, what I was talking about, because it's a very interesting way of looking at it, this next way that they're talking about, we're talking about, or what he's talking about, activating those compassion centers in the brain. He says, focusing on someone that it's easy to have compassion for makes those feelings arise. And all you need to do is saturate the mind
So this
with that emotion.
sounds like a Tom Glenn inspired.
Exactly, which is actually, I thought where you were going to go when I asked you the question. It's interesting you went into the anger thing, which is, of course, it's perfect too.
It's faster.
Yeah, it's quicker. It's very quick.
Yeah.
Now, in going back
I
to
don't
what
think
he's
it solves
talking
your problems, but
No.
it's energy.
it definitely
That might solve your problems. Tom Glenn meditation, which seems like what they do is, which is a small
is
part
actually
of
a
it.
small portion of
Tom
time
Glenn, you
meditation.
start with somebody who couldn't be compassionate and then expanded wider and wider to the neighborhood.
That it's easy to have compassion to. Oh no, you start with someone
You start
that's
somebody easy, you get comfortable with it, you kind of take their suffering and send them love and compassion.
easy. Mhm.
And then once you get comfortable, how about we do it, everybody's in the building, then everybody's in the neighborhood, everybody's in the city, everybody in the whole country, world, and then you go all right, how about you, and then the last one is, which I don't even use, how about somebody you really can't stand?
You don't really use that one, huh? Let it try, buddy.
No, for all people.
Oh, sure. Okay, so what he talks about is that all of this arouses something called neural substrates that includes oxytocin in the insula and the prefrontal cortex, warming them up, snoring on me. You want this stuff to happen. If
Basically,
you want this to happen,
he's like some kind of researcher. This is very medical.
well, this is about the neuroscience.
So
of the
they
brain.
did a little neuroscience and it works. Duh, that's been around for a few thousand years.
Yeah, so it's like, listen, this works for 1,000 years, and these guys just went, oh yeah, this really works.
That's awesome.
But before I go on to my next subject, because this led into something else, I think that pretty much encapsulates what I wanted to talk about as far as the book. Really worth looking at. That's just one of the examples of one of the meditations. What you do, he has it like half a dozen or more meditations.
Also, a
in there.
different meditation. So the Tom Glenn inspired one is not the only one.
Not the only one, and then it goes
Did you
into
buy the book?
research. Yeah, I actually did.
Oh, it's on my phone.
Well, yeah, it's on my phone. So
Here,
take a look at it. The app is great. Yeah, really worth taking a peek at.
So something that we've been discussing for this whole week, and I've been dealing with, and I've been on the lighter end of it, and you're on the darker end of it. This week is a topic of abundance. So I wanted to talk about it, and I realized in the show I'm going to talk about what's happening. We'll stay current. So the topic of abundance, and the way I want to describe it is that, so this is meditative spiritual show. We're not gonna talk about like abundance, or you can make money. Like, how do you relate abundance and money flowing in your life? How do you deal with it?
Back again? All right.
So
Repeat. I think we got cut off.
the topic I want to discuss is the topic of abundance, right? So this is a spiritual meditative show, and I noticed that a lot of people have an issue with money. And as I was saying earlier, is that, well, when people say, "Well, I wish there was no money." Well, you'll be trading goats or cows or something. Same thing. The concept is the same. You're trading paper, or you're trading goats or services, whatever. So people are having issues, and how do we approach that? How do you
be
get
sharing everything? It's hey, here, take. No.
So what I say is that how do you get the flow is of abundance to your life? So how I like to approach it, and is that you gotta find what's your edges, where you have to be as a person. Let's say edge would be for the masculine, right?
Right. Now, what does that mean? Your edge?
Edge is
is
that
that
you
from
find
a day-to-day
where they an edge, right? You find where you should be doing, and you feel like that's the thing you should be doing at the moment. Your purpose in life right now doesn't have to be the same tomorrow, but this is it. You went, you retreated, you meditated. You're like, oh, shit, this is what I have to do. So you do it, and you do it impeccably, and you do it with integrity, and you go all the way. And then you open yourself to the universe, and things will happen. Not right away. In the industry, and like technology industry and things like that, and any industry, there's like people see is like, oh, this overnight success, There's no such a thing as overnight success.
Everything, yeah.
There's 3 years of blood, sweat, and tears, and then everybody's like, oh my God, it's amazing, it's awesome, it must have happened to them right now. People put 3 years of their life. There's no luck out there. Everybody at work. So might as well do what you enjoy doing and what you love, and you feel that's the thing. That's the thing.
That consistency.
Whatever that is, wherever you at that edge. That's your thing.
And that consistency. Would you say that there's something that I was reading recently that consistency, building that consistency, is what makes luck. That makes luck.
I guess it's not luck. It's a tipping point.
Exactly.
Right.
I mean, that's the real world function of it.
Yeah,
our minds, our
happens
imaginations create this whole thing luck, which
Yeah.
is just, it's not the way things work.
Yeah, so that's how.
Oh, there's a counter to that.
So, and then if on a feminine side, I would say whatever gets you best flow. energy flow, whatever you are. That's 5%.
Mm.
Guys at the edge, find that edge just a little over, find out where you gotta be, what you gotta do, don't be scared. It's okay.
Don't be scared.
Be scared and just still do it.
Yes.
That's what courage is.
Yes.
Scared and just still do it. If
Yes.
you don't have fear and you still do it, that means maybe you're crazy. Maybe you have it's not connecting, but you're the edge is gonna be scary, you have to do it, you're gonna put everything on the line, like we did here, put everything on the line,
Yes.
and then eventually it pays off.
Now,
Maybe 3 years, maybe 3 months.
right, right.
So you have some.
I have another one that kind of like comes in, and it has to do with similar to the topic that I'm going to. Did you want to say something?
Oh, I thought you wanted to kind of argue.
To argue? Well, there actually is. There is. I wouldn't say argue, but there's a counterpoint to it, which is, and I think it's good to bring up because it comes up a lot in New Age circles, having to do with these meditations on aligning your purpose. For example, one of the things that I was going to mention in a moment was Ho'oponopono. The Ho'oponopono mantra, a Hawaiian mantra.
You're in love with it now.
I'm liking it. I'm liking it a great deal. And
I love the feel of it. I mean, I don't feel like doing it,
right.
but I think it has something really so beautiful to me.
Well,
about
it's
it.
so interesting about it for
So
me.
why don't you say the mantra so everybody knows what it is?
Well, the mantra is composed of 4 very simple phrases and states of mind, really. The first one is, please forgive me. Second one is, I'm sorry. The third one is, thank you. And the fourth one is, I love you.
Oh, nice. Thank you.
I do. I love this guy. Here, no, I know it's silly, but yeah. But,
It's a beautiful mantra.
no, it's a gorgeous mantra.
And a little plug for my friend Edward from Soul Transync. He put binaural beats to it. It just takes it to a whole new level. So check it out, soultransync.com.
Soul Transync. Take a look at it. We'll have a
So it
link
has
there
a
too.
little extra component to
It's
the
very funny.
everything.
I had heard about it before, but Edward himself was the one who kind of reintroduced me to it because we were talking on the subject. And it wasn't, I liked the idea, but it wasn't very appealing. Remember how you say you like the feeling, you're not sure. I started looking at some videos and it was nice, but it was not really very attractive, but I started to think about it. I found myself thinking about it afterward. And then I went back and I looked at a video with one of the founders, actually the founder, the main teacher, I forget his name, is a Hawaiian Huna and a therapist. And what he talked about is, he talked about visualizing your subconscious. And your subconscious is truly neglected for the most part, almost all of us. And approaching it with each phrase and embodying each phrase. And approaching it deeper and deeper and slowly going through it. And just feeling the response. And that kind of appealed to me a little more. And the more I started thinking about it after that, I actually started kind of visualizing, and it was very effective. And then it started stirring so much up that I said, you know what, I need to dig a little deeper. So I sat with it and I went in and did it. Incredible experience.
Alright.
No, I didn't cry.
Why not?
I cried on the inside. I cried on the inside.
Good to cry.
No, believe me, I'm a professional. I'm a recovering crier.
Awesome.
Yeah,
So
that was
I know I've been suggesting that you should look into it. I think somehow I felt like it would really help you. I don't know what kind of demons you have to apologize for, but it feels like you might.
A lot.
Right?
It was a good deal. It's a good deal in there. Maybe not from this life, but if you believe the past life definitely carries there. But that thought that was quite extraordinary, and I'd like to actually post some. I want to look into this book by Joe Vitale, Zero Limits, which was suggested by Ed, and I'm going to look into it a little more. But I thought it was fascinating. I had a great experience, so I definitely wanted to mention that real quick.
Oh, that's great. Well, the next thing I'm back to
The man
the man here again, the Way of Spirit Man. I was looking for
by
topics on abundance.
David Daida.
David Deida, and I was looking topics on abundance, and I didn't find anything in his book, but there was about money, but I found something interesting. But I think we can link it because it's all the same.
Love and money in this episode. This is like
The love and money episode.
boom. Ninth
So,
episode. We're bringing the.
I love the title. I thought, ooh, interesting. The feminine is abundant. There is never a shortage of women of feminine energy. If a man feels that there aren't enough women, or that life isn't giving him what he wants, there we go, ties up right there. He's simply negating his relationship to the feminine. The sense of starvation, life is not sustaining me, or there are no good women, is usually rooted in a man's early childhood relationship with his mother. Life itself is the feminine. There is never shortage of feminine energy, only a resistance to receiving, trusting, and embracing it. And I like the first sentence. You must actually refuse feminine energy in order to feel tired, dry, and hungry for a woman. Very interesting. What do you think?
No, I think it goes right to the heart of a lot of feeling. I know I've definitely become aware of things that this is turning into like self-therapy, which I don't know if I'm comfortable with, but this is good.
You want to lay down on the couch?
Tell me what your dreams are.
I'm just
Your dreams have been very interesting.
I'm like, what's the last paragraph? You?
Taking another peek again? Okay. And I think we're like coming right to the end of the. This is the culmination of the show.
Yeah.
And we cut right up. So
I'm gonna.
beautiful quote right
So
here.
you need not show the women you meet throughout the day, Carlos, that you're doing anything special though. So you don't have to show off. You don't have to. You're okay as you are. It's okay.
That sounds crazy to me. I have no idea what
You
you're
don't.
talking
You don't have to impress them.
about. I have no idea what we're talking
Be cool.
about. Just be
Continue
cool.
to-
Hey, you just did
Continue.
reverse. Be cool.
Or be yourself. I'm sorry. Continue to treat them in whatever way is appropriate for the situation, but throughout it all, relax and enjoy the bountifulness of feminine energy that surrounds you, both in the form of you and women, in the form of the moment together. So kind of gets back to the beginning of the show where we talk about the abundance, and I think abundance in itself is it's like a part of the feminine universe. Like universe in itself is feminine.
And that was what I was going to mention, which is that I mean, in tantric philosophy, tantric meditation, they talk of the feminine being all of the universe that is manifest, and that the masculine is consciousness itself.
Mhm.
It is not to say that only the masculine is conscious and not the feminine. Don't get into all that. You know, because I think I'm pretty conscious too. It's not like that. It's like yin and yang, really. It's what it is. It's very much like what that is.
That's cool. So
I think.
I'll be paying attention today.
I hope I
We
paid
didn't
attention.
we didn't make him cry though.
I think you wanted me to cry today.
After the show.
After the show.
So thank you for joining us at Zen Mystery TV and a beautiful Zen Mystery here.
And take a look at all the links. We're going to post all those links up on there for you to take a peek at. And I think we owe you some, maybe some blogs as well, but it should be up out there.
All right. Well, thank you.
And thank you. Namaste.
Namaste, everybody. See you next week.
See you.